And I've got to give enough we'll look at the problems. It's not an excessive amount, but it's a reasonable amount. Grading each of them closely, I've done it, takes a long time. Takes about a week and a half. If the summer class session only goes for 7 weeks, by the time you get feedback, it's too late, okay? So what needs to happen is you need to get feedback as soon as you hand it in, okay? And so what you'll do is the first homework assignment, okay, will be, okay, if you go to the calendar, it's like everybody's accessing this all at once.
I'm trying to write left-handed. Actually not that bad.
Oh, here it is. Assignment 1, okay, on Thursday, the 30th, okay?
Oh, you're left-handed.
So,
All right, Liz,
all right, so, okay. Okay, so far, I've given you an argument that I should assign some homework, it should be challenging, it should be interesting, it should be helpful, and you should get feedback right away, okay? So the other thing is, with these textbooks, okay, they're online homework systems, okay? This textbook has one called Mastering Physics, but they all have one. And I really want to avoid wasting your time, okay? And wasting your time, I would consider is working on something that's not helping you figure things out, okay? So if I'm going to use the online system, okay, I want it to be useful to you, okay? So the first versions of the online systems came out and they were awful, okay? I don't know if you had a chance to watch these things progress, but they were very picky with how they accepted answers. They didn't give very much hints. They were pretty difficult to use. And so I kept checking in every now and then and asking other instructors and asking other students how they liked it. And about 2 or 3 years ago, Mastering Physics crossed a threshold where students began to go, you know, some of it was a pain in the butt, okay? But some of it is helpful to me. The hints, the fact that and I can give you feedback after you hand something in, but Mastering Physics can give you feedback as soon as you think you finish the problem, okay? There's no way I can be like looking over your shoulder going, yeah, that's right, but the Mastering Physics stuff can, okay? So enough students said, no, this is worth it, that I thought, okay, I'll use it too. So I have put problems in Mastering Physics. Now, Mastering Physics can be still picky, overly picky, and Mastering Physics can tend to have an obsession with what your score is. Now, I want it to be, and they've added some new features which I enabled, and we'll see how they work, and I'll want some feedback. But Mastering Physics does have, they're watching what you're doing, and they're trying to get you the right help to get through this faster, and I'm all for that, okay? So that's my intent with the Mastering Physics, is to help you learn how to do the physics problem. My intent with the Mastering Physics is not to give you a score, okay? Or at least a score on how many, if it took you 5 times to get the problem and you got it right at the end and you know how to do it, I'm happy. I feel like the homework was 100% success. Okay, but Mastering Physics may feel like it was not 100% success because you didn't get it right the first time. Okay, or you know what I'm saying? Okay, so Mastering Physics is going to give you a score. I will not look at it. Mastering Physics also gives me how many did you complete and were they correct? And I will look at that. And if I see that over half are correct and that you completed all of them, you get 100%. Okay? In fact, if you complete all but about 1 or 2 and you tried, it also tells me how much time you spent attempting to do it. Okay? So if I look at it and I go, yeah, you're working on your homework, you didn't necessarily get all of them, you may have taken a few attempts to get them, but you're working through this and you're getting it right, okay, then I'm gonna give you 100%, okay? And, well, that's the way I'm gonna look at mastering physics. Now, mastering physics is still gonna give you a score. Don't worry about it, okay? I'm not gonna use it, okay? All right, so mastering physics can be good for that sort of thing. Short problems that where you get feedback right away, but some of the problems, in particular, problems that you might encounter on an exam, tend to be long, and they tend to have a lot of parts, and they tend to have things that you put together. And there are a number of homework problems in the back of the book that are a lot like that, okay? And I could assign them through mastering physics, but I don't want you, I'd rather you think about it, do your answer, give it in, and just write it up in full, okay? Like an essay story problem, okay? So that's what these are, okay? So to complete the homework assignment for Thursday, what you would do is go to Mastering Physics and do the problems there, okay? And they should be easier than these, okay? And work through them online, okay? Make sure that you attempt to do them. Make sure that you think about them. The more you put into it, you know, as far as, you know, learning how to do things, the better it's going to be, okay? But if I see that you did all the things, you know, you attempted all the problems and stuff, you're going to be good. Then do these problems. Actually, you can start doing those as you're working through this, but make sure these get done too, okay? These, I want you to hand in separately, okay? Like on a piece of paper, or somehow give me your fully worked answer, okay? Where you start with the statement of the problem, you don't need to rewrite that, but how you thought about it, whatever free body diagrams, whatever formulas you put in, whatever algebra you put in, give me all of that, okay? And I'll look through that, and again, if you've made a reasonable attempt, okay, and I can see that you engaged that problem and wrestled with it, maybe you got it, maybe you didn't get it, okay, I'll give you full credit, okay? And then, on Thursday night at midnight, a file will appear in the files. Oh, this is due at midnight. This has, the Mastering Physics stuff has to be handed in online, right? You do it online, it gets done, it's, okay? This needs to be handed in through another means, okay? So I will accept a piece of paper in class, okay? Or I will accept some sort of electronic hand-in. With Canvas, I said, hey, if you want to attach a file, and that file better be this stuff, okay? Then you know, if you give me a JPEG or a, you know, something fine, that'd be great. Or you can email it to me, okay? So those are 3 ways of handing things in. If you email something to me, it's got to be readable. Now, that said, phone cameras, you know, and cameras in smartphones are typically good enough that you can point your camera, your phone at it, take a JPEG, email it to me, hand it in, and that would be good. Don't get it all blurry and out of focus. If so, just shoot it again, okay? But that would be fine, okay? If those don't work for you, if you find yourself stuck in a position, talk to me about whatever you can do. I actually even have a fax number you could send things to. Talk to me about what you've got, and I'll talk to you about what I've got, and we'll come up with something, okay? I will respond to your homework turn-in kind, okay? So Mastering Physics has to be done on Mastering Physics, but this, if you hand it in on paper, I will hand you back your paper with a grade, okay? If you hand it in through email, I will reply to your email with the grade. Okay? If you hand it in through Canvas, I will reply through Canvas with the grade. Okay? If one of you hands it in through Canvas and the other hands it in on paper, and I reply in Canvas with the grade, and to the other one in paper, then if the one in paper, the one who handed it in paper looks and says, hey, I didn't get a grade in Canvas, that's because you didn't hand it in on Canvas. Okay? So, is that kind of clear? Okay. I realize that this is possibly the most confusing part of the syllabus, is how to hand in homework. And I'm trying to be flexible, okay? But that also means that gives a lot of possibilities. The other thing is this whole mastering physics. Okay? Did most of you use mastering physics in the previous classes? So you have an account that you can use? Excellent, great. That's still the one you want to use. Okay? I believe that I have connected it so that the mastering, I just learned that you could do this, connect mastering physics with Canvas. So you should be able to click on this and go to the class, okay? And there's a tab in Canvas. Over here, right, it says Lab and Mastering, and if you click on it, it should get you to mastering physics. Now, oh, yeah, let's do that.
What's the very first one?
But it's also scary because
Is it that one? I think I want to go, I think this one takes, I'm going to try this second one. So I think it goes straight to the assignments. But it blocked a pop-up. Perfect, okay, cool. So the second one down that said go to your mastering assignment should take you to this, and then you can see, there's chapter 14 homework, which is also due on Thursday, and you can then, there are the problems, okay? Cool. If you don't have the mastering physics, you will need to get some. And one of the things that this class uses is this supplement, okay, which also you should have got if you took 115, 114 and 115 here, you should have got this supplement and hopefully you kept it, okay, but we'll use this for your live streaming makes me nervous every time I break a rule. So we'll use this for physics, because this is part of the 115, 114, 115, 116 stuff that you got, okay? And you all got the textbook here, right?
Yeah.
Okay? Right. So if you got the textbook here, you got access to this book, right? And now, there was a mistake with Pearson, and they did not do. Are there people here that don't have the book? I suspect there are. Okay, there was a mistake with Pearson, and they didn't bundle this book the way they should have. So I have a Pearson gave me a link that I could pass on to students so that you could gain electronic access to this book. Okay? So I will post that on an announcement on Canvas. Okay? I just got it about 20 minutes before class began, because I've been saying, how are my students going to get the book? And I got it. Okay? So I will post that probably tomorrow morning. Okay? And hopefully, I checked it out. It works. Okay? So do you want me to write it on the board? I just don't, just because everything, well, when we take a break today, I'll write it on the board, okay? But you will, if you don't have a copy of this book, you cannot buy it at the bookstore because they messed up, okay? And so you'll have to use the link, but you'll have electronic access. There are only 2 chapters that we're using for 116, okay? So it's not like there's a ton of stuff in there that you have to use, but Okay, but you will be able to get to it. Okay. Good. Okay. Group problems in class, okay? I found that I can talk and talk and talk a lot about how physics works and formulas and descriptions and stuff, but unless you actually do it, you don't really figure out how it works. So frequently, okay, I will pose some sort of problem in class and have you guys figure it out. I want you to work together. It has been, we'll have a talk about study practices, but it's been shown that the best way to learn physics is with other similarly confused people, okay? I see, yeah, okay? Maybe you've already discovered that. In that case, great, okay? But if you, it really helps to study with other people, because other people see things differently. If you study with a bunch of people that know a lot more than you do, okay, then they do everything for you and you don't really learn a lot, right? Or if you study with a lot of people that know less than you do, you end up showing them all that you know, but they don't show you much of anything, and you know, for the time that you spent, you don't gain very much, okay? But if you study with equally confused people, okay, then you begin to share what works. You each see different things at different times, and you stretch into things. I will say in particular, when I had my first introduction to quantum physics, and maybe this is your first, for some of you it will be your first introduction, there's a lot of confusing, weird stuff that you go, what does this mean? Okay, what is this? What are they really trying to say? And you can talk to your professor, but your professor is all, oh yeah, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I've been thinking about it for a long time too. So I can give you some of what I think about it, but it really helped me to be talking about it with other confused friends, going, what is he trying to say? And coming to peace with some of this stuff, okay? So I would suggest that you find some people that are similarly confused and work together. I'm totally happy if you work together on homework. I'm totally happy if you work together through some sort of electronic means on homework. As far as copying is concerned, as far as it mostly works its way out. Homework doesn't count for very much. The reason you're doing homework is to practice, so that you can do exams and do other things with physics, pass the MCAT, whatever. None of those are going to be collaborative, so make sure that when you do your collaborative work, you gain how it works. If that's going on, and I'll trust you on it, then that's great, okay? And I know that you can learn more working with other people than you can working by yourself, so I want you to do that. Okay? So monitor yourself. Make sure that you're not, if you're copying something from somebody, make sure you understand what it is, where it came from, how it works. Okay? Then you'll be good. And share. Okay? Or buy them coffee or something. Good. Labs. We're going to do a fair number of labs here. Probably more often than not, there will be a lab in class. Okay? Some of the labs will be informal labs. The goal of an informal lab is to understand new phenomena. Some of the phenomena is counterintuitive. Sometimes people feel stupid doing lab because they go, this is, it's not working the way I thought it was, or something's broken. If you can, try to get over that and just deal with what you see, okay? Something's not behaving right, be open to, it might be broken, it might be working fine. I'm happy to talk with you about it. If it's an informal lab, I will make sure that you see what you need to see out of it. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to fix it and do it for you. Okay, but I'll talk to you and work through it. okay? Students will often complain that, Brian, you never answer my question directly. But I don't ignore you, okay? I would try and help you figure out an answer to your question. I am watching to make sure that you don't get an answer due to faulty equipment or something, okay? But I'll make you work for things, or that's my goal. Okay? I have a daughter who has trained me to not give away the answer. Eventually, she began to tell me, you know, Dad, whenever you do this, I know it's wrong or I know it's right. So then I realized I had to improve my poker face. Okay? So I will try to help you learn how to figure things out. Good? Okay? And so with the informal labs, approach it with an open mind. Don't worry about being wrong. Your grade is going to be based on whether or not you saw what needed to be seen. Okay? Were you here? Did you complete things? Did you figure those things out? It doesn't matter how many times you guessed or guessed wrong, you know, guessed right or guessed wrong. Okay? Labs cannot be made up. Okay? We're only here so often. We got to bring out a bunch of equipment and put it away. You need other people, so you got to be here for labs. That said, nobody can be at every class at all times. Okay, so I will drop one lab automatically. Same with the in-class problems. We'll do the in-class problems. I'll drop one in-class problem automatically. But you do need to be here. Okay, you need to participate in order to get the credit for the in-class problem. You need to participate to get the credit for the lab. Okay, good. Informal labs, or sorry, formal labs. We talked about the informal. For the formal labs, those will be once we have developed an idea of how something works and we want to test it. We want to see if the real world behaves in the way that we predict that it will. So with the formal labs, you will make a prediction, okay? You will then test the prediction and make measurements to do the test, and then you'll compare your measurements with the prediction. Our first formal lab will be tomorrow. It's not in the book. Oh, yeah, it's not in the lab manual that comes with it. So it's right here. You can go ahead and come and get one.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Did we run out? We got one more. I made 28 copies. Did we really run out?
Somebody did too.
What? I got 24 people. 24 sounds right. Okay. I was just wondering if all of a sudden we had 27 people in the class, which didn't seem like it would fit. So, okay, that's okay. So this is our first formal lab. We will do it tomorrow. All the labs will be done in groups. All of the labs will be handed in as a group. Okay, so you'll work with some people. You'll all hand in a single copy. I don't want 24 copies, of which there are really only 6 labs, and I've got a bunch of copies of the same thing. Okay, I would rather you collaborate and analyze and work together to hand things in. For the informal labs, you will probably be able to do them in class. If you can't do them in class, don't worry about it. I don't mind if you hand it in the next day or the day after that. Okay? I would rather you spend the time thinking about it and understanding what's going on. The formal labs will be due about a week after they're done. This will be done. We'll perform the lab tomorrow. It'll be due the Thursday of the following week, okay? So it will, I'll talk about this tomorrow as we're actually getting ready to do the formal lab. But there is a structure for the formal lab about how I want it written up. There are some goals of, you're going to make a prediction, you're going to make a comparison, how to handle uncertainties, because I want to, at the end of the lab, go, does our model for simple harmonic motion hold or not hold based on what you saw? And you should back it up with your data and the numbers and the quantitative results. So we'll talk about how to do that, but the formal labs will have that structure. Okay. The formal labs have that structure. It might not be obvious how to write them up. Okay. My goal is for you to understand that you can compare things in laboratory, how to do that comparison, and how to present it, okay? And because different things that you might do might result in you wanting to present things differently or talk about things differently, the level of detail you might not be used to. For all of the formal labs, I encourage you to hand in a draft. I will, for free, okay, no penalty, look at it, make comments and suggestions about things that could be improved. Okay? It's not a contract or you do all this and you get an A, okay? But I will, to the best of my ability, look at it and give you good feedback as to what would make your lab better. Okay? So I would encourage you to take advantage of that. Okay? I do not require it. Okay? I find that sometimes people cannot get themselves together or decide that it's not worth it, and if so, I'm not going to make you do anything. Okay? But it is, in general, to your advantage. Okay, grades typically, I grade on a 10-point scale, and usually they're 2 to 3 points higher if you hand in a draft than if you don't. Just saying. Okay?
Can we email you that?
Yes, you can email me a draft, or you can hand it in on paper. Again, I will respond in kind. Regarding emailing labs, it used to be everybody used Microsoft Word, and Microsoft Word was a standard. It's not the case anymore. Now there are a whole bunch of different versions of Microsoft Word, and they don't really talk to each other the way that they used to. So if you want to send in a draft of a lab, I mean, seriously, I've had people go, well, I was using Word 2007, and I'm looking at it in Word 2013, and I don't see your graph, okay? And you don't know that ahead of time. It looks fine on your computer. Send me a PDF, okay? If you send me a PDF, I've never had a PDF not open and show me. I've had it, say, oh, it's corrupt, and then you send me another one and it's fine. But I've never had it open and then show me something that wasn't what you intended, okay? So I would suggest that. If you send me a Word document, I'll open it, but you may get a reply back saying, there's no graph. And you'll go, oh yeah, there was. And then we're fighting a tool. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. Good. You can also email in your final draft as well. I prefer actually electronic copies to printed, but I'll take either one. You may also do a hybrid thing. Sometimes people find that what they really want to do is type up all the text for how they did their procedure and their conclusion in a word processing document, but they may have a graph that they want to hand draw some stuff on. That's cool. Okay? Don't feel like you have to scan it or fight Excel or graphical analysis or something. If it works to use the electronic tool, fine. If you spend more than 5 minutes fighting the tool, draw it by hand. Good? I have something in about the Science Study Center. It's in the S building. I've got an address. It's a great place to meet people. I hope it's going over the summer. Does anybody know?
It is.
It is? Excellent. I just realized, I didn't check. Okay. Cool. So this is a good place to meet other people and work on physics stuff. Okay. Tests and exam. We're going to have 3 exams. they're all gonna be, well, we have 7 weeks. So roughly, we're gonna do 2 weeks, an exam. 2 weeks, an exam. 2 weeks, an exam. If you go, hey, what happened to the other week? Well, we just spent a whole week taking exams with 3 exams, right? It's, okay, so that's the way it's gonna go. I'm not sure exactly how this is gonna work out. I mean, I got an idea, and I'm gonna tell you what I think is gonna happen, and then we'll see after the first exam, okay? But, on the calendar, exam 1 is July 12th, right? Is that? Yeah, this is where we are right now. So basically, there's no class on this day, so we've done 2 weeks and we have our first exam. I apologize, because this is hard. What I'd really like is for there to be the last day of new material, a day to review, and then the exam. So you have a little bit of time to digest and put things around. But if I do that, then I either have to start presenting the next material early, which I've done before, and people do not like it, okay? Because you're trying to figure out all the old stuff and being asked to learn new stuff at the same time. You aren't learning the new stuff, okay? Or a significant number of you won't, and it doesn't work that well. So what we'll do is the last new stuff will be the night of the 11th here, okay? And then the exam will be on the 12th. Now I think what I'm gonna do is say that this exam, I can't give a 3.5-hour exam, okay? And I can't present new material and then say, oh, and by the way, we're gonna stop right now and do an exam, because there's all this pent-up anxiety about there's an exam coming, okay? So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, all right, the exam will begin at 6:30. At 5:30, you can come in. If you got questions, things you wanna talk about, let's do it, okay? And then at 6:30, I'll give the exam. I don't want an exam to go more than 2 hours. Do you want an exam to go more than 2 hours? No, okay? So at 8:30, I'll pull them away, okay? And you can stay up until 8:30. You can, or if you finish, you can leave. Yeah? Okay.
Do you put up sample exams?
I do,
Awesome.
okay? So,
Are they somewhat similar to the actual exam?
I have some stuff to say about that. So the question was, do I post, well, essentially old exams, I
Yeah.
do. If you go back to the course, let's see if I can do that. Excellent. In the files section, okay, I've got 4 files, which are all exam related, okay? I've got, I think these one of them is old exam 1, one of them is old exam 2, one of them is the old final exam. So I've got the last exams from the time I did before. Those are PDFs. You should, let's try this out. You should be able to click on them. The PDF reader in Canvas is crap. I don't know if you, yeah, so you may want to, if it does not open it for you on your machine, download it and open it in a better PDF reader. Notice I didn't say Adobe. Okay? But something that you like. Adobe's not that bad. Something you like better. So, the question is, how close is this exam to the exam that I will give you on that Tuesday in 2 weeks? Okay? It will have different questions, okay? But it'll have the same format, okay? So I, the very first time I taught a class, people gave me that sort of question. Do you have a sample exam? No, I don't even know what I'm doing making a first exam, right? So then you want me to make 2 and give one out as a sample? I don't think so, so I didn't. But the next time I taught a class, oh, and then Some people did well, some people didn't do well. I made some horrible mistakes in the exam and I tried to correct it with the grading, and some people did some amazing stuff and some people didn't, and that was the way it went, right? And then the next quarter, somebody asked that and I said, hey, I've got a deal. I'll give you the exam from the last class. The scores were noticeably worse. And I thought, uh-oh, what did I do? Okay, and you know, and
Oh,
I was, you figured it out?
yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say?
I think you mean like it's people are too focused on the last exam, so it caused them to think about what's expected.
Yep. Yep. And I heard some people discussing, and they said, you know, I don't know why I did so bad on that exam. I spent the whole time studying, making sure I could do all those problems on the old exam. Well, I asked different problems, and they couldn't do those. They over-focused on the old exam, okay? So, when I was a kid, I had to take the SAT. Do you take the SAT? Okay? You know, the SAT has the same format, okay? But it doesn't have the same questions. So, part of the reason that you take a practice SAT, it's not like I'm going to take a practice SAT and memorize all the questions. You take a practice SAT so that you understand what sort of questions people are going to ask, when they're going to come, how many are going to be like this. Do I do well with this type of question or well with that type of question? Use this exam in the same way, okay? Don't, in fact, you can sort of go, hey, he's not going to ask this question, I don't need to know that. Right? Well, some of these are kind of general, so it might be that you can't take it that far. But if some of these problems involve some sort of particular trick, and you go, and it's the night before and you're studying, and I go, I got to get that trick that was on the old exam. No, you don't. Okay? What you really need to do is make sure you study generally, and there might be a trick on the other exam that, and if you study generally, hopefully you'll get it. And if you focus too much on the old exam, you won't. Good? I talk too much.
Are you open note?
I am not open note, okay? But good, look, thank you for asking that. Because the next thing I was going to show you, I'm not open note, but I do have a formula sheet that I will give you, okay? That formula sheet I just pulled up off of Canvas is right here, and you have access to it now. And I would encourage you to use it when you do your homework. Print it out, carry it with you, okay? A word about the old exam, and a word about this formula sheet, and a word about me, okay? The old exams and formula sheets were built with a variety of different textbooks, including but not limited to the one that you have. So and in fact, the old exams were given using a different textbook. It's the same topics, okay? Roughly the same order, but not necessarily exactly. In fact, they've switched the order of where some of the optics stuff is. So if you're looking we're going to do what's called physical optics, where you talk about waves and diffraction and that sort of thing first, because that's the order your textbook does it. And then we'll do geometric optics, lenses and mirrors and that sort of thing afterwards. Again, because your textbook does it that way, so it supports it. However, the old book did it reversed. Okay, they did geometric optics and then physical optics. So you might read on the first exam something about some sort of optic thing that we did not do, and you might go, oh my gosh, I completely missed something. No, you probably didn't. It's probably the fact that this is from a different textbook and is in a slightly different order. The other thing is that it's possible that some of the notation may be a little bit different than the notation in your book. I don't see anything right off that's, yeah, I don't know, but you may find something where, oh yeah, I know one. when we talk about the equations of motion for simple harmonic motion on the formula sheet, they're written in terms of omega, that angular frequency, okay, which is like radians per second. And in your book, they're written in terms of F, the frequency, which is in cycles per second, okay? But there are relationships between F and omega, and you can glue them together. So these are fine, they're useful, but no, and the pieces are all there. So make sure you just, if you're using this formula sheet while you're doing things, you'll notice those differences and make those connections. Does that make sense? Okay. If you find something that's horribly bad, let me know, okay? And we'll make some adjustments. Okay. I try to put the building blocks on here, right? So if you look here, you will see things like Ohm's law and how a capacitor is charged, and we're all electrical over here, but constant acceleration formulas and things like that. I don't do the very specific derived formulas for special situations, and I expect that you would be able to use this and a little bit of other. These are some of the basic ideas to help you when you're stuck. Okay, it's not. I expect that part of your job is building the formula using the building blocks. Yeah. And I have also learned some things about exams. If I give an open note exam, I'm going to ask harder questions. I assume that you have the entire book at your disposal, and that a lot of the basic stuff, why test you over? You'll find the right spot in the book and copy it. Well, that's no good. It's not. I can't tell if you understand basic stuff or not, or if you're just copying the book. So I've got to ask harder questions. The worst is an open note take-home exam. I have to ask really, really hard questions, right? So you don't want that. By giving you a closed note formula sheet with basic stuff, I can ask what I consider to be reasonable questions with a time limit. I try to make it large enough that you can explore some dark alleys and come back out, okay? But I'm not, I can ask questions that aren't quite so hard and get an understanding of where you're coming from. We good with exams?
Mhm.
Exams are pretty much the only spot where I could catch you cheating and get really all upset. The other one is stealing other people's lab data. Okay? If you do those two things, one of those two things, not you don't have to do both. One of them is enough. Okay? And I would start doing disciplinary action and that sort of thing. Okay? Although the homework, I'm encouraging you to work with other people, the labs, that sort of thing. On the test, you've got to do it alone. You will want some sort of calculator. The calculator, it can be a simple calculator. It needs to be able to do trig functions, exponentials, that sort of thing. It does not need to be a graphing calculator. Okay? It can be the $10 Casio, that type of thing. Okay? It cannot be your phone or your laptop computer. It's got to be some sort of dedicated calculator. If you want a dedicated translator, okay, if English isn't your first language and you want something so that you can, I use some word that you don't recognize and you have a electronic translator that you're comfortable with, I'm okay with it. I would like to see it ahead of time, okay, because it used to be, I could say, everybody had the Franklin translator. And I was like, great, you bring one of those, it's good. And I know it just has a dictionary. Nobody even had Wi-Fi connected devices. Now I want to see it just because I don't want you to be able to text your friends about the stuff. I want you to be able to just look up words. Also, during an exam, I am happy to answer clarifying questions. I try to be as clear as I can, but I realize different people are gonna think about things differently or interpret things differently. And so if you wanna come up and say, did you mean this? I might clarify it. If I think what you're asking, if you go, some people will ask, should I use this method or that sort of, I can't answer those questions. I gotta let you pick, your methods, or is this the right formula? I can't do that. But if it's, if I refer to a tennis ball, and I might say, oh yeah, here is a tennis ball. It looks like this. Or when we talk about rings, I might say it's got mass on this side and looks like that, and draw some pictures on the board. But so I'm more than happy to do that. If you're looking at it going, what the hell is he talking about? Okay, feel free to ask me, and I will do my best to do that. Okay, without giving away the answer. Okay. Okay. Here's the breakdowns of grades. This is sort of what goes into your total grade. Okay. So I said I'm not keeping the grade on Canvas. I'm not keeping the grade on Mastering Physics. You might go, well, where are you keeping it? How do I know how I'm doing? At the end of the first exam, I will bring in a copy of the grade sheet for you to look at. At one of the questions I'll have at the first exam, I'll ask you to give me a name and I'll ask you to give a secret code. Okay? The secret code will be some sort of thing you make up that you know but the rest of the class doesn't know. So I can pass around a grade sheet and you can find your code and you can then see how you're doing, okay? And not only will I give you the grades, okay, your total grade, but I'll give you the grade in everything that you've done, all the in-class problems, all the homework, and that sort of thing. So you can check and make sure that you got the credit that you thought you were going to get. If I realize I'm flexible with how you turn in things and I respond in kind, but the worst thing is, you catch me on the bus on my phone and I reply and I say, yeah, you handed it in, and I forget to get it in my grade sheet. If that happens, point it out to me. I'll go back. I don't delete my email until after the quarter is completely done and grades are handed in. So I'll be able to go back and look and we'll find it and I'll get you credit. Okay? But definitely part of the reason I'm handing it back is to make sure everything got handled properly. Okay? I realized I forgot to tell you about homework solutions. Okay? After, I was saying I wanted to give you the feedback to homework right away. After you hand in the homework, at midnight in the files section, homework solutions will appear. Okay? And there'll be a PDF file and it will have complete worked out things, not just the answer, but sort of how it was solved. Okay? So my thought is you hand in your stuff, you might have 4 or 5 problems that you're having questions about, and then you could go look at those and they would provide an answer. Okay? You might, maybe that's enough. You might look at it and go, I see how to do it. You might look at it and you might go, okay, I see that that works, but would my way work? Okay? And if it's not obvious to you, come talk to me. Because a lot of problems you can solve in more than one way, and you might have been doing something totally valid or not, and I can try and help you figure that out. Okay? I think everything else is pretty basic here. Final exam is the last day of class. It's going to basically feel like exam 3, okay? And if you have a documented disability, I'm happy to make accommodations, but I need to know. So especially since everything goes so fast, let me know as soon as possible so we can do whatever needs to be done. Okay? Good? All right, so what I think I want to do, I talked longer than I wanted to. Can we take 5 minutes to take a break and then come back and we will talk about oscillating motion?